The Wednesday week is sponsored by Michael Constantine Wealth Management. We bet you can't find a financial advisor closer to Hillsborough Stadium.
Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. This is the Wednesday week. You've got me today hosting the show. Unfortunately or fortunately, either way, because Dan is doing unmeasurables to camels in Marrakesh. So we've got three lads here today. I've got Ash, Blair, and Steve. Well, it's like deja vu, isn't it, lads? Fleetwood again, third time in a month. So, Ash, over to you. I believe you were trialling some new seats, weren't you? In the South Stand, just seeing where you're going to sit next year amongst all the grumpy old men. How did you find the game? What did you think, mate?
Yeah, good evening. The game, do we have to? Do we have to talk about it? It was predictable from the week before. It was an awful game again. I'd love to say it was a typical cup game, but it weren't even that. It wasn't very good at all. But to be expected from Fleetwood, I mean, I don't know. It was disappointing, I think, because I would have rather got the game either way out of the way, as in win or loss. Obviously, I'd have preferred a win, but not really that impressed by either team, really, to be honest. I know we came back, which was good. Always good to come back. And Wilts took his goal well. Good cross from Johnson. But I don't know. It was just. I wasn't that bothered about going, to be honest. Yeah, yes, I was trying out the new seats with the grumpy old men because that's what I am. And it's good to get hot water and some decent beer. Yeah, that's probably my highlight of my day, to be honest.
Steve, obviously you've sat in that stand for a while now, and I think you got pretty good view of the Fleetwood bench. I know we've sat in the South Stand for the first time. The sort of what I saw was the Fleetwood bench sort of mirrored what was going on the pitch in regards to their team, the sort of moaning and so on and so forth. They took levels of gamesmanship to I thought a different level. What were your thoughts?
I think I said the week before. We've seen a lot of them in the last month, haven't we? I said the week before they are quite possibly the most League One side that we've ever played. If there was a side that if you were to look up League One in the dictionary, you'd get Fleetwood, wouldn't you? And that sort of rang true. I think it's harsh to, or it's not nice to have to sort of recollect what we've had to go through on Saturday, because you're going back the week before and then you're going back another 4 weeks, and it all just sort of it molds into one, doesn't it? It just becomes one big game of nothingness. And I thought the game itself on Saturday was just really bland. It was really dour. It was a game that, you know, as Ash has said, we could have ideally done to win. I'm not one of those that say win or lose, because I didn't want to lose, and I've got significant thoughts on whether or not we should be wanting to go out in the replay and so forth. But it was all just so familiar, and it wasn't familiar in a nice way. Fleetwood, not a very good side in terms of the way that they play the game. They don't want to come and play football. They're going to set up to frustrate. They're going to set up to slow the game down. I don't think the referees help the situation. He's one of the worst referees as a professional referee, to see the things that he was doing on Saturday. There were a couple of occasions where, you know, he's stopping the game when the game's advanced 70 yards down the pitch. He's stopping the game to bring it back for a knock on the foul. You know, for the things that had happened. He just made it one of those games where you're watching the clock, you're waiting, you know that on the equaliser we might get a chance here or there. It was just it petered out to a 1-1 draw, and I just thought, meh.
So Blair, Moore made a couple of changes. Patterson and Wilkes up front. What do you reckon to that change? I mean, it's the first time I think we've seen Wilkes actually playing up front rather than on the wing. What was your opinion of him?
I thought he was really bright. I thought he really took his opportunity. I thought he was good. I think out of the 11 players, he was one of the better ones. He looked like to me he was actually trying to earn a shirt with Lee Gregory misfiring this season. I mean, he's got there's a shirt up for grabs there. My thoughts on Gregory will be probably quite unpopular at the moment. I thought as a game as a whole, how many turned up? About 9,000. I think it was like
no, more than that.
15.
15,
yeah, really?
15.
Just
Yeah,
over 15,
yeah.
I think, the official.
Didn't look like that. I think the crowd weren't that bothered. Players weren't that bothered. It's like it's Fleetwood again. Moore was bothered. You can tell he was bothered because he only made 2 changes. I think positives is I thought Iorfa was good again, and now we can rely on him. That's almost like a new signing. Hopefully we never see Dominic awful again because I think he's been brilliant. I thought Palmer was good again. Weird, but we didn't see Deli Bashiru. I think his time at the club is just coming to an end, unfortunately. But yeah, it was. Yeah, like Steve said, Met is probably the best word to describe it. Unfortunately, what the annoying thing is, we've got to play him again. As trilogies go, I mean that was as bad as the Matrix. You know what I mean? First one was entertaining. I thought it was Scott Brown. The first, so when you look at the 3 games we've played in a month, the Boxing Day game, they went for us. They thought, right, we're going to try and upset them. We're going to go for them. And you know what? They scored a screamer. They really got stuck in. They hit the crossbar and they had a really good go at us. But Wednesday was just better in the end because we've got better players, we've got a better system. They all know what they're doing. The second game, Fleetwood really tried to just keep it compact and keep it a low score and a fair try and probably get a draw for them away at Hills was a good result. And the third game, it really was like, right, we're just going to just fall on the floor now and really upset them and really not let them get any rhythm of play going at all. And it was just a dire affair, wasn't it? It was crap.
Do you know what I took from all 3 games? And it's probably very rare anyone probably says like this, is that Rooney was the only one I could say out of all 3 games. Well, 2 games, sorry. Obviously, he didn't play.
Yeah.
But like the first 20 minutes of the first game on Boxing Day, he was head and shoulders their best player.
Oh, he was loving it.
Scored a cracking goal, and then he lost his head. And then on Saturday, he lost his head again.
Yeah.
He really did. A few times, he could have quite easily gone again. He could have got a red card. And I couldn't even tell you probably any of the other players' names for Fleetwood. It's not my job to really, but obviously Rooney got the shit every time, didn't he? And the crowd got on him purely because he's like a pantomime villain. He was.
I was going to say the same. He was their pantomime villain, wasn't he, for the day?
Yeah, but there was no on Saturday. There was no. Wilkes' goal took it well. Great cross from Johnson, but there was no other outstanding moment of the game, was there? They took their goal well. Good diving header. Probably a bit suspect on marking, but we haven't said that for weeks, have we? So I'm not over that bothered about it. I'm not going to be sat here pointing fingers who I thought should have been his man or anything, because in the last, what we say now, 21 games.
So we played Fleetwood 5 times, and that was the first time we'd drawn. So Wednesday we've got 4 wins, and that's 1 draw now.
It was the first time we conceded, except from the Newcastle game. It was the first time we'd conceded since we actually played them on Boxing Day as well. We haven't conceded. We've had clean sheets other than the Newcastle game. So that was the annoying thing, and I agree with you. Can't point any fingers. It was just one of those games. Sorry, Steve, go on.
I was just going to say, we're talking about Wilkes' finish. I actually think it was an own goal, wasn't it?
That's what he got shot down as.
Did it?
I thought, he was there, but I think if you look at it, I think the defender gets the last touch. But it's by the by. You know,
he can't finish from 6 yards out. Fucking useless.
I was going to ask you, Steve, what's your opinion? Because I know we've all had sort of low opinion of Malik since him joining, and question marks of why we've signed him. And you were amongst those with all of us. We all agreed. What's your thoughts after Saturday?
I can't fault him on Saturday. He's still got a way to go in terms of the fact that we've paid money for him, we've paid a fee for him. That's weird to me. All the recruitment that we've gone through, the fact that Wilkes is one of the players that we've paid money for, and the impact that he's had on the squad.
Chased him for ages.
yeah, we've gone after him. Expected big things. I accept it's probably been difficult. He was one of the last ones over the line. The fact that he's coming to a team where we've got Smith, we've got Gregory up top. We don't necessarily play a formation. I think that was obviously a situation we've had in the past with Corbinu and Mighton. Do we play a formation that's best suited for Wilkes? I don't know. People will say that he can score goals. He's played up top on Saturday. He's done all right, to be fair. One swallow doesn't.
On that point, I think Moore is very good at training a player in a player what's not their natural position. So I think our system didn't fit him. But if he's coached him in training to be more up front now, like a proper centre forward.
But we've talked about that. I've mentioned that in the past with Reece James. We can talk about the fact that Blackburn have let Reece James come to us, and Reece James having the season that he's having. I'll stand corrected. I don't think there was ever any intention at Blackpool that Reece James would be playing centre half. I think we've stumbled across a formation that suits Reece James. We've tried it with Johnson. We've tried it with Jayden Brown. I just think Reece James is a level up. From the Wilkes point of view, I was just going to say one swallow doesn't make a summer. I'd like to think, and one of the important things now that we need to be focusing on, and you look at there's no doubt we're going to talk about the transfer business or lack thereof, and we're going to talk about the business that other teams have done. If you think about the size of the squad that we've got and the players that are on the periphery that we're not necessarily talking about, if we can get a tune out of Malik Wilkes and one or two others in the second half of the season, they will effectively be like new signings. So hopefully it's a start of an upward trend, an upward trajectory when it comes to Wilkes being in around the first 11, and hope he kicks on from there.
He's only 23.
Yeah,
I didn't realise that, to be honest.
24 now. It was his birthday yesterday.
Oh, was it yesterday? Oh, right. Well.
I absolutely agree with you there, Steve, and we'll obviously talk about transfers in a bit, but I do agree in regards to the size and depth of the squad, and some of the players will be coming back, etc. And that leads nicely into the only bright thing that I saw on Saturday was the fact that Byers and Bannon came on as substitutes, which in my mind changed the game. I thought they did. You could see the difference in quality in regards to them coming on. Blair, Byers and Bannon, how did you feel when they came on?
God, well, it's like remember we played Plymouth last time and they both came off. No, one of them went up. Bannon had been that. Same feeling, but reverse. Unbelievable, elated. Just like it felt like Man City for you know what I mean. When they bring on their superstars off their bench, you're like, God, look at their bench, amazing. I mean, when them two came off our bench, I thought when did Sheffield Wednesday ever have that like depth on their bench to bring them two on? Do you know what I mean?
It's not like they've been sat out like waiting. They've been injured, so they're going to be on bench, and it's not like they're
I know, but
going to be on the bench all the time, is it?
It was still great, wasn't it? It was still a good feeling. I also it just shows, but Darren Moore really wanted to win the cup, though.
What did you think? I mean, obviously one of the biggest critics of a certain Scotsman, Ash. How did you feel he added to the side when he came on? How did you think that gameplay changed? Or
you're talking about Liam Palmer?
You can see it changed. It was, but yes, we got a draw out of it, and they've come back and had some important minutes. Got to be for games coming up. No drama, but I mean, it'd be shit to say we've missed them. I know they're two cracking players, but it's not like we've lost and things. So it's not. We have missed them in the sense of players around the squad, but it's not like we've missed them on the pitch, is it?
Steve?
We've drawn and won. You can't argue with the stats. Everyone says about stats.
No,
so we can't say we've missed them, but it's nice for them to come on for the minutes for games that are no doubt they're first teamers. But in an FA Cup against Fleetwood,
I know what you're saying, but it's and I'm not disagreeing with what you're saying. If you look at the stats, you look at the games that we've played with, we're winning games, we're not conceding goals, or we weren't conceding goals. I know as we walk out, it's a little bit different when I walk out the ground on Saturday. You know, you have a little routine, don't you? So you come out the ground. I make my way up Perry's Road. I get in the car, and
Check your windows.
I check the windows. That's another thing. Yeah, that's a story for another time. I get in the car, and before I set off, I have a look in my phone. I have a look at the group chat, and I know as we walk, and I do that while we're walking as well. And I know that Ash, you mentioned that you thought that Bannon slowed the game down a little bit on Saturday when he came on. If I'm honest with you, I've got no opinion on that, whether he did or he didn't. I personally thought that there was the quality in terms of our possession and the quality in terms of the way that we played, whether or not the game was faster or slower. I just thought it just leveled up when them two came onto the pitch. I thought you could see a difference in terms of what we're doing.
The comment was just 2 or 3 times, and I know the stats are going about stats, but he did he did make the most pass. What was it?
Key passes.
Most key passes.
Yeah, when he only come on for like 20 odd minutes.
61 minutes.
Yeah. So, but I just thought on a few occasions when he could have, about 2 or 3 times, he could have moved the ball a lot quicker. And that's maybe because he's not 100% fit. He's not match fit, obviously. He's got his own.
The game had no tempo at all, though, did it?
But he's there to up that tempo and stuff, isn't he?
I know it's hard to. I mean, yeah, it's hard to just come on in 2 minutes, like something like.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's not his fault. I just thought it was. But now to see him back, yeah, of course. But it's 2 extra players that are fit.
I think just on that point, yeah, you're right. I think just on that point, it was important on Saturday that both of them got minutes. If they were, I didn't know if Byers would be available. I suspected that Bannon would be on the bench. You'd seen him training, and I think I mentioned in the chat that we've got. I expected Bannon to get a decent run out. You know, if we were up in the game, we'd get the last 20, 25 minutes just to get some minutes in his legs.
Also, there'd be a Plymouth scout in our stands that game, and they'd see Bannon and Byers coming off the bench. Might have put a bit of fear in their hearts, I think.
I don't know. I just think it's important. I just thought it was important that he got minutes because he will be starting on Saturday. Hopefully, Byers will be starting on Saturday. Be interested to see what the lineup's going to be. But they're 2 key players. You know, you could see the difference in terms of the way that we played when they came on. They're big game players. Plymouth, you know, there's no getting away from it. It's going to be the biggest game of the season. It's going to be the biggest game at Hillsborough potentially since. Dare I say it, Brighton. I can't think of another game where it was that big.
So that was Fleetwood. That was Fleetwood. We managed to make nearly 20 minutes out of that Fleetwood game. Jesus. So we've done Fleetwood, and we're doing them again on Tuesday night. Is anybody going Tuesday night up there?
No.
So just me then. Oh, it'll just be me.
Don't know yet.
Well, we might see up there.
Tickets, but
yeah. I'll be heading up there. So let's hope. So we've got a replay. So we discussed that in a second, actually. So we've got the replay on Tuesday, but then we had the FA Cup draw on the One show. So what is going on? You know? So they've got a One show.
Are you saying the magic of the FA Cup's no longer there?
I think the magic of the FA Cup was lost a long time ago.
7:15 on a Monday night on primetime TV. Drawn by, was it Jermaine Jennis and Alex Scott?
Yes. Yeah. So, I think we were the last ball to come out, were we not? All the big teams kept going, and we drew Ipswich or Burnley away if we beat Fleetwood.
Literally, out of every team, I didn't want to draw. It was that one. I didn't care about who else we got. It was just that one. I just didn't want.
And
Burnley, can't stand Burnley. Boring, nothing in their town. And Ipswich, I hate them.
Well, it's a midweek game as well. It's not going to be played. It's not going to be played on a Saturday. It's going to be played during the week.
Has that been like that for a while? Does anyone know? I thought FA Cups were. I thought it was always a weekend. Saturday. Sunday.
Yeah, so did I. It was a surprise
it's
to me.
It's quite important as well because if you win that game, you're in the quarter final. So it's not like it's a nothing game. It's actually quite important, really.
Is it a legacy of having to get games in because of the World Cup?
It might well be.
Probably.
Yeah,
Good
yeah,
point,
yeah.
Stevie. Yeah.
I don't
probably,
know.
yeah.
So
Makes sense, doesn't it?
after the draw, there was quite a few tweets flying around saying we should play the kids. We should go up to Fleetwood and play the kids. And so,
Disagree.
what? Ash, your opinion?
It's real tough, and I can see both sides of everything, because you go up there to play a thing. Yes, it's the next round. If it was a more glamorous tie, people's probably opinions may be different. It's because who it is next. Yes, go and play 8 or 9 of the first teamers, and one of them gets injured, 2 of them gets injured, and then we've got everyone's going to have different opinions on this, and there's not going to be a right one, because there's permutations for everything. You play the kids, they get spanked. Yes, you might have got a fresh first 11 or 6 or 7 for the next game, but you're out of the cup. You play your best 8 or 9 players, and a couple get injured or strains. They only have to have a knock and they're out in it 4 days later. So it won't take much for someone to miss the game. And to be honest, I love FA Cup. I really do. Would I rather have 3 points?
Is it Plymouth, Fleetwood, Ipswich?
Yes.
Yeah.
Would I rather have 3 points?
It's quite an important game, Ipswich one, isn't it?
Yeah, but then we've had results before where people have said, yeah, it don't matter. We've played 40 odd games, so if we lose against Ipswich, it's not a massive thing, is it? That people have said before when we drew against Derby 0-0. So you can't pick and choose your games that don't matter, can you?
I think for me, it's like we're 21 unbeaten. Sorry, Si, and I don't want that to. And it sounds mental. I can't remember. When was the last time we were 21 unbeaten? 21 unbeaten.
We haven't. That's it.
I don't want that to end, especially the Fleetwood.
Well, yeah. If we'd have drawn, yeah.
Imagine. Oh, your record-breaking runs ended by Fleetwood. Oh.
It might be Plymouth on Saturday. It won't be, but it could be anyway before that. So,
what are the rules? Somebody might know something that I don't. In terms of registering players and players playing, can we play anybody in the cup, or do we have to have our players, a certain number of players that are registered with the first team that have to play? I don't know the rules. So it's all well and saying, let's put the
manager. I think you can put anyone in.
Right.
There was some sort of rule, weren't there? Was there 5? Or, I don't know if it was for.
No, that's Papa John's. You got to play 6.
John's, wasn't it?
You got to play 6 first teamers.
And I think the League Cup as well. I think the League Cup had it due to the fact that a lot of the Premiership teams were fielding weakened teams, weren't they?
Yeah.
I mean, my opinion is this: we should go to. I think Darren Moore's taking it very seriously. I think he didn't field a weakened squad on Saturday, and I think we'll see a virtually first team on Tuesday following the Plymouth game, because I think he sees it as keeping that momentum going, as you said. That momentum.
Huge,
that and there is a ground. We're only, again, if you look through the results we've had, we've been winning games only other than the Cambridge game, 1 or 2 goals. But it's that momentum all the time, that momentum of marching on, of which reminds me a little bit.
Final. I mean, I know you're looking ahead there, but a quarter final at Hillsborough, I mean, that'd be freaking massive, wouldn't it?
Well, in my mind, in my head, it's reminding me a little bit of the 91 run of the league, and also the League Cup run we were having as well. So we took both of them seriously.
Sorry, Simon. So you take 0 points against Plymouth Ipswich for the next round.
No, not at all. Not at all. Moving on. Anyway.
I know. I can see. Like I said before, I can see points for everyone.
We're playing Plymouth first anyway, aren't we?
I'd rather have 6 points than the next round of the cup, to be honest. And I love the cup. So
let's put Fleetwood to bed until next week, and let's talk about somebody who actually came on at the Fleetwood game, and seems to be the only person we have signed in this transfer window that seems to have been one of the longest transfer windows I've ever known in my entire life.
It's just been a bad month, ever since I got paid. Ages to get paid.
So Aidan Flint, we've seen him before. I think Dan's had a massive love affair with him first time round. It didn't end too well. His first loan spell didn't end too well because he got injured, didn't they? Quite a bad injury, and went back to Cardiff.
When we signed him the first time round, I mean, I was over the moon. I thought, you know, I mean, so we just went through. That was the points deduction season, wasn't it? When we got him. And I thought this guy really is going to help us. You know, I mean, might get draws. You know, what I mean, really going to help our defence out. And then when he got injured, and I think his first 2 games, because he played 3 games and he got injured in the 3rd, and the games he did play, he was excellent. Because Monk just threw him straight in. I don't think he had a pre-season. I think he just threw him straight in. He did look great. To get him back, I think he'll sit in the middle of the 3, which allows Iorfa and Palmer to do the right, and then Femero and Reece James for your left, and then Iorfa can go back in the middle if Flint's not fit, obviously. But I think Flint's is going to sit in the middle, marshal the defence, and just head everything out. That's my assessment.
Steve?
Yeah. Anything that we get, we could have signed anybody realistically, and it wouldn't have been a substitute for Mark McGuinness, would it? It doesn't matter. Yeah. Anybody that we bring in that was realistically somebody that we're going to bring in wouldn't have been up to speed, because Mark McGuinness was he was, of all the lone loves that you've had, he's probably the one that has come in and tugged at our heartstrings the most, if you like. Was I ecstatic about it? No. The guy's knocking on. He had a loan period with us before. Has he pulled trees up at Stoke? No. Stoke signed him from Cardiff. Yeah.
And October's last. He's not been injured though, which is a good sign.
No.
He's just been out of
but that's the point, isn't it? He's not kicked the ball in the better part of 2 or 3 months, and this is no criticism. I agree. I thought he looked steady when he came on. Yeah, you see him warm up, and he's running up and down that touchline. McGuinness was a big bloke. Iorfa is a big bloke. You watch that guy walking down. I feel small. I'd feel small standing next to the guy.
You're a big guy, Steve.
I'm not small.
You.
And he looks the part. If he can come in, you look back, and if he can come in and score a few goals for us, if he can marshal that back line, if he can offer something different, if he can stay injury free, I think that's the key to it. If we can keep players injury free now, we are going to move on and talk about signings that other teams have made, no doubt. Talk about the transfer window, and we'll talk about that in a bit. But I think Flint is probably an astute bit of business. He's plugged the gap as best as anyone else will. I think he's a better signing than Hector because he's more match fit. He's lower stakes. He's a decent addition to that back line.
Probably
anyone
as well
in this division will have him.
Ash, Flint, and also the rest of the transfer window, because obviously the Sheffield Star, Radio Sheffield, have been bigging it up for all the local teams, including ourselves. And it sort of ended last night. I went to bed 10:30, checked my phone. I got up this morning. We hadn't signed anybody. It was no great surprise. So 1 in, 2 out. Obviously, McGuinness called back, and then we got rid of Alex Mighton, sent him back to Forest. I think we were all fairly nonplussed about Mighton's impact on the Wednesday side since coming in. What's your feeling on the fact of we have, other than Aidan Flint, that's the only player we brought in? And to be honest, I think there wouldn't have been as many negative tweets if we brought him in last night rather than before the weekend. I think people forgot about us bringing him in. And what's your thoughts about touching briefly on really the 2 teams that we're going to be fighting for promotion with, which is Ipswich and Plymouth?
I thought just to echo what Stevie said, I think Flint was a good bit of business. Like I say, I think any and Blair said any team in League One would have been taking him probably. The only thing that obviously it's all reports and stuff, but I think Dom Howson put out yesterday that they had talks with Hector to sign him and they couldn't agree. So it just looked like Moore wanted another centre back in, and obviously he didn't get Hector for probably too expensive, or wanted 2 years or something silly, not a short term thing. So the only thing is that obviously Darren Moore said he wanted to bring 1 or 2 in. He tried, obviously, but it probably didn't have enough time to get another centre back. If he wanted one, it looked like he did.
Well, Well, they went for that Celtic lad, didn't they? Went for Stephen Welsh from Celtic.
Yeah, there's a Celtic guy, and then
Celtic pulled.
apparently he was up for sale, and then they rescinded and said he wasn't going to go out on loan. So
I'll go meh, but then I said if you'd have said it was Mark McGuinness, I'd have gone. Bleh. So I can't pass comment on him. So for that,
listen, after Gordon Rhodes, I'll never question a player's ability again on name, because I thought we had a surefire thing with him. So ever since then, and like some of the players at Sheffield United, Simon, when they went to the Premier League, I was like joking. I go, him from League Two, who's he? You know what I mean? Next minute he's in Premier League. So it's like ever since then, I'm like, I'm not going to say anything about a player's name until I see him play football for us. That was it.
I would have probably liked, and it wasn't a necessity, but probably a striker with a bit of pace. Maybe just a youngster, something, for the last 10 minutes to bring on. But it wasn't a need. To be honest, Patterson, they've kept him, and his last, apart from Saturday, but his last 3 or 4 games before that, he's actually improved. Yes, he's not getting the goals, which could do him getting a couple more, but his work rate's been spot on. So other than that, for me, yeah, I think I'm happy enough. Obviously, if you ask me that in May, if we go up or not, you'll go, "Oh, fucking hell, Darren should have brought in XYZ in January." But that's the.
Twitter was mental last night.
That's the gamble. That's the gamble that.
Twitter was insane last night. We were virtually top of the league. We've got a game in hand on top of the league. We've got the best goal difference. We've got we've got 16 clean sheets. We're scoring. We're scoring goals for fun. Like what do you get? Who do you sign?
I know you can't legislate for injuries and stuff, but we have had a few this season. So you could have gone erred on the side of caution and probably brought someone in. But then I think Moore said that he doesn't want to just bring someone in just for the sake of it. So it's and like I said, Blair, people will our F and Jeff at end of last night saying we haven't done this, we haven't done that. When we get promoted, that won't matter. If it goes tits up.
Well, the Michael Hector thing was like you say, he probably wanted a 2-year deal or an 18-month deal, and Darren Moore probably thinking, I don't think you're good enough for the Championship anymore. And he's probably and Darren Moore will be an ambitious bloke, and he'll want the Championship now. And why not? We're 8 points clear of third or Derby. I think no, because we've got Ipswich won that miss, but we've got a game in hand. We're virtually 8 points clear of third. And you know what I mean, so we should be virtually planning for the Championship or 1 hour.
Oh, fucking hell, no, don't.
And Darren Moore will be thinking, I'm not committing to you because if we get promoted, I'm stuck with you.
I would imagine that a fit Michael Hector with pre-season is a Championship player.
Yeah, he's only played 35. He's played 35 games since he left us on loan. That was like 4 years ago.
He's played 35 games in a promotion-winning side that then went up into Premier League. At the end of the day, we're not talking about us being a side that are going to be pushing. I don't think necessarily. If we go up, we'll be competitive and we'll be all right. I don't think we're going to be one of those teams that are going to be looking at coming down. But
the Championship would have gone in for him then if he were good enough.
Pardon?
Wouldn't a Championship team gone in for Hector if he was good enough?
But this is the beauty of podcasting, isn't it? This is the beauty of us, and I've said this season already. We sit here behind our mics with his headsets on, with his headphones in, because we are football fans that want to talk about football. At the end of the day, Darren Moore knows what he's doing.
Well, like Josh Windass,
pardon?
Like Josh Windass said, but he came off Twitter because numpties on the internet talking about football.
Talking about us.
Yeah.
It's people. Social media, when it's done right, social media is ideal for people like us because we can sit down and we can articulate ourselves in whatever way that we want to. We can put our memes and our gifs and we can put our little bits out. But at the end of the day, Cy does what Cy does, Ash does what he does, I do what I do, you do what you do, but not one of us is being paid any sort of money to run a football team or to manage a football club. Do you know why? Because we're not good enough.
100%.
How do we know if I've never tried that?
I won the Champions League.
I have tried. Listen, I have tried. And I think, I sit there and I'll pull bits apart and I'll disagree with people left, right and centre. We are what we are at the end of the day. Trust the process. When it comes to Hector, I don't know. Something wasn't right, and if it's not right, and Moore's not happy with it, I trust Darren Moore. And if Darren Moore wants to go out there and say, my business is done and I've tried to get bits over the line. Maybe he's had his fingers burnt in the past, or Chansiri's had a conversation with him. So be it. Whatever is whatever. I think there's clearly something gone on somewhere, because I don't think, on reflection, I was thinking about this this morning, the business that we have or haven't done. Our side, whatever we think of the bloke, our squad is significantly, he's not significantly, our squad is weaker because we've allowed Alex Myton to go back and do nothing for 6 months. So something's happened there. Whether that be...
Sorry, Steve, I was just going to say, I would trust Moore a hell of a lot with his defensive choices and coaching and management purely on what he's done already than I would on his attacking, purely just because of Corbanu and Myton. He brought them in. Everyone said they're not players that, but he brought them in anyway for whatever reason. That's his decision. And both times it hasn't worked. But defensively, he's brought in McGuinness, he's brought in James, and Famewell. I think the squad, has he brought like 16 of the first squad in, 16 players, I think it is, out of the squad. So defensive record, can't argue with. But if he was an attacking player that he's gone and ahhing about, obviously Hector's not, he's a centre half, so he's made that decision. Centre half, I can trust his decision with that, purely on what's happened before. So that's where I am with it.
So totally agree with you, and it's not. My point isn't about necessarily the recruitment, but the conversations and the not outcry, but the any element of ill feeling about not getting anything over the line last night. You've got to look at it. We could have kept Myton, and it's another. Whether I agree with him, and I've made my opinions on him sort of well known. We go to Fleetwood a week on Tuesday. That's a game for Alex Myton.
100%.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We can put him in our starting 11, and it's low stakes. We can argue its quality. At the end of the day, my understanding is he's gone back to Nottingham Forest and won't play again this season because he's played for 2 teams. So we've let him go back. I suspect we've let him go back with a view to bringing somebody else in. There was something going on somewhere. We whether it be a wage bill thing. Forest weren't happy that he's gone back. So what's happened there? Has Darren Moore seen something where somebody's going to come along and replace him that we've not managed to get over? I don't know. I agree with your point, Ash. We've signed him and Corbanu. We've effectively signed wingers to play wing back, and that hasn't worked. What he's done and what Moore has done well is he's converted fullbacks into wing backs. All right, Marvin Johnson's an exception, isn't he? Because Marvin Johnson played left midfield. But I definitely agree with your point. Just on it, if I may, can I do a bit of research?
You may.
Can I give you my research points? I did this before.
As soon as you put the hard work in, you may as well.
Go on, Steve.
So we've ummed and ahed about whether or not we've got enough squad depth, and people have strengthened their squad. So I had a quick look at Ipswich and Plymouth and the players that they've brought in. Ipswich have signed 1, 2, 3, 4 players. Plymouth have signed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 players. So you look at it on the surface and we're going, they've done bits. If you look at the players that they've signed and then you look at our squad, I'm not worried. I'm not worried at all. Ipswich have signed a guy called Harry Clark. If you look at his track record this season, he was on loan at Stoke, has been recalled to be sold by Stoke. Last season he played at Hibernian and he's played at Ross County. He's a defender. Who cares? We've got no issue with our back line. He doesn't replace any of the quality in our squad player for player. Nathan Broadhead has come in. I've said this before. I don't get the hype with that guy. He averages 1 in 4 goals, or 1 goal in 4 games. They've signed Luongo. He hasn't kicked a ball since he played for Wednesday.
He played the other night, didn't he? He played for Ipswich.
He came on. He came
on. Yeah. And they've got George Hurst, who averages 1 goal in 7 games, and his goals, of the 13 goals that he's got, they all came for Portsmouth. So he goes to Rotherham, scores no goals. Goes to Blackburn, scores no goals. He gets recalled. He's been recalled. These aren't players that we should be looking at and going, oh, they've had a quality that's going to be better than ours, because I don't think they do. If you look at Plymouth, they've signed a lad from New Zealand, averages a goal every 4 games. They signed a defender from Norwich who was on loan at Stevenage. They've signed a lad from Blackpool who signed for Blackpool from Leicester in the summer. So you've signed from a Premiership team to go to a Championship team, and now you're playing for a League One team. They've signed a lad from Sunderland, Jay Mattetti, played 8 games last year. Signed him from Fleetwood. He's not getting in. And they've signed a lad from Villa who sat on the bench for the first half of this season at Bradford.
And look who he lost. And look who they lost.
You know, what are we worrying about?
They lost Morgan Whittaker, who's been there like 9 goals, 6 assists or something. Like their best player by a mile. That's like us losing Barry Bannon, basically.
So, you know, in terms of squad depth, our squad at the beginning of the season was the best squad in the league. Our squad had the best depth. We can talk about that. We can talk about the financial sort of aspects of it. But at the end of the day, Ipswich are spending more money than we are. I've seen stats. Did I see a stat the other day that Fleetwood have spent more money than we have? Or Darren Moore has, or something stupid like that. We ain't spending money. We've assembled a decent squad. It's a legacy of being in the Championship, but we're doing all right. And if we can avoid some of the injuries that we've suffered from earlier in the season, I don't worry about where we are.
Fleetwood have just spent 500 grand, I think, on 2 players. One of them being Jack Marriott.
Yeah. Let's. I'll give you my take on it, and then we'll move on. And the first take is the Hector thing. Hector hasn't played football in God knows how many years now. Wednesday, I think we're willing to offer him a contract to the end of the season to prove his fitness. Charlton offered him the same. He lives in London. Where's he going to go? He's going to stay. He's going to go to Charlton. Money-wise,
I think he's signed 18 months at Charlton, actually.
No, it's signed to the end of the season. I looked it up today.
Right.
And also as well, their manager has actually said he might not even play for Charlton this season. You know, got to see how his fitness is. So exactly.
Wow.
Yeah.
Fucking
exactly.
well, there you go.
And
if Darren Moore had done that,
you could have said that 10 minutes ago, so I would have.
Yeah. And in regards to us not signing, the Flint situation is nobody could have foreseen at the start of the season we'd lose to Ben Hennigan and Michael Ihekwe to ACL injuries. Right? It seems that Ihekwe's out till the end of the season now. Nobody could have portrayed that. Nobody could have portrayed the fact that Dominic Iorfa's form is like this. So and then also as well, we signed an absolute starlet in Mark McGuinness, and rightly so. He's gone back to his parent team. So we needed to sign a centre back, and Aidan Flint's come into that. In regards to our manager, I think he looks at the team he's assembled and he thinks to himself, we've got a fantastic spirit, we've got fantastic camaraderie. Why do I need to bring in 4 or 5 players that could ruin that camaraderie, could ruin that spirit, which could happen? And that's what I'm seeing. And I think what Ipswich and Plymouth have done is just done this scattergun approach, a bit like we were guilty of doing 4 or 5 years ago in the Championship, of just signing anybody and anything, you know, and that's why we ended up with that Dutch defender who for 4 million who was shite, you know, and just basically, yeah, you know, just signing people for the sake of signing people. He's got a set squad, and unfortunately, we've the department where we've got injuries is defence, so we've had to bring Flint in. I think he's happy with every other position on it. I think he showed him some videos in regards to Alex Myton, and they were probably the same agent that we've had on a number of other players that we've signed in the past, where it looks actually better than they actually come across. And to me, I felt he was a bit of a letdown and wasn't that impressed. I wasn't that bothered when he left. So me personally, I still think we've got the strongest squad in the league. If we and we'll see that on Saturday. The issue I've got is Reece James. I just hope he comes back very soon, because we will miss him.
Yeah, my positive. Sorry, Steve. My positive from not signing anyone yesterday. It must be that he's not that far left of his injury. Like, he might be back next week. We don't know.
Steve,
is there anybody outside Ipswich and Plymouth that we need to worry about? Derby.
No.
What about Derby's won the league, haven't they?
No, I don't think
we have. They're 8 points above us, aren't they? If you look on the Twitter, they're 8 points above us.
I'm going to say something very controversial here.
Go on.
It's only going to be Sheffield Wednesday they've got to worry about.
Yeah.
No, it is. No, injuries. it's not going to be the form of another team. It's going to be injuries because, like we've all just said, our squad's best in the league. We're on great form. Like you said, a great point about obviously the squad from the outside looks like it's getting on great, and all the interviews, and you see like Stockdale and Dawson look like they're getting on great, fighting for position, but they're still getting support of each other. So I just think it's going to be injuries or something absolute. I don't think we should worry about anyone else's form. If we are where we are at the minute, we could go top. And form of other teams you can't worry about, can you? You really can't.
Back in October, we were miles behind these two. Ipswich and Plymouth. We were 8 points behind them. Really, we were miles behind them.
Let's have a break. Let's have a break from talking about Wednesday just for a moment in regards to where we are at the moment. And I believe with Blair, who seems to have the media darling of YouTube in regards to some of the reviews we're getting at the moment. I'm sure his mum's got a YouTube account.
She has.
And also as well, there's rumours that there might be a Blair and Steve show, which would be an incredibly odd couple. So we'll be looking into that as a spin-off, and we might actually even make some T-shirts or something along those lines with their faces on. I think just like that, Steve. Absolutely gorgeous for those people. Right. So I believe you've got a quiz, Blair. I believe you've got us a quiz.
Yeah, we've never done top goal scorers in club history. Don't know why. It's like the most common thing, isn't it? Football, we love goals. So 25 top goal scorers for Sheffield Wednesday. This list is quite disgusting, and not for a good way. I can tell you the number of goals if you give me a name, or I can leave that till the end. It's up to you. It might make it easier if I tell you goals.
So that's basically since 1867 to now.
Yeah, I'm using transfer marks. I don't know what their
even I won't remember all those.
So it's top 25. So do you know what I mean? So on here, there's only one black and white photograph. Everyone else, I sort of know. Everyone else I know, apart from one. Yeah, it's two guys I don't know. Everyone else you should know.
Right, this should be a short quiz. Anyway,
you'll know him.
Right then, go on, Blair. You can pick out the people.
I'll do Ash, Stevie, Si. So just pick someone who's scored goals for Sheffield Wednesday, Si. Ash, Stevie, Si.
I couldn't give a shit. So Francis Jeffers.
Oh, come on. He's not in the list somehow.
Oh, you're joking! What a surprise! Go on, I'll go. I'll best play along now, Santa. Sorry, grumpy bastard.
Jordan Rhodes.
David Hurst.
David Hurst is top of the list.
Oh, what a surprise!
Do you want to know how many goals he got?
Not enough.
80.
Yeah. 80. In how many games?
In 226 games.
Oh,
so not one player in our history has scored more than 100 league goals. That's quite upsetting, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, there's not one player that scored more than 18 league goals, is there, in the history?
In one season?
Yep.
God, that's shit.
Shit stat, that, innit?
Yeah.
It is.
Very depressing.
Go on, Steve.
Mark Bright.
He's Googling.
Mark Bright.
He's Googling, everyone. Anyone on audio?
Yeah, he's only second on it. Mark Bright is second on the list with 60 goals.
And the sort of abuse that Brighty used to get.
155 games.
How many goals, sorry?
60.
In 155?
Yeah.
Has he got a better goal? Sorry, I missed stat. Has he got a better goal to game ratio than David Hurst?
No, Hursty has got a goal every 35 minutes. Sorry, not every 35 minutes. Hursty's got a goal every. Sorry, Hursty's got a goal. He says goals per match is 0.35. So let's do it in. What's this stat? Minutes per goal.
Let's give us Bright's goals.
I would say
minutes per goal. Bright has got 203 minutes. Hursty's 213 minutes.
So it is Brighty's better goal scoring record. Yeah. Yeah. Right. Okay.
Number 4 will break everyone's heart.
Paolo Di Canio.
Di Canio. Fucking hell.
Looks like it's a no.
Surely. It's a
I don't
no.
think it was. No, it's a no. Oh, I'm out. Oh, it's a shame.
It's a no. Wow.
He wasn't here long enough. I think that was probably the reason why. Go on, Ash. Between you and Stevie.
Um,
Was it your go? Yeah, it was your go, yeah.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, my go.
Was that your first guess? You're out.
Yeah, it was shite, wasn't it?
what's
Fucking
the?
hell.
Can I ask what the number of goals is number 25's got?
Number 25.
No, you can't.
All right.
I'm going to go for Atinuwu.
Atinu is number 4.
Yeah, man.
Whoa!
50 goals in 277 games.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Again, how much stick did Atty used to get off the fans?
Yeah, and he's 4th on the all-time goal scoring list.
Wow.
When's he the shit, mate? Cancel the podcast. We're crap. I'm supporting another team.
Go on, Steve.
How did I get roped into this? Burden
Andy Booth.
Andy Booth. Surely. Yeah, he's number 12, 30 goals.
Ash.
Forestieri.
Forestieri is 7 with 40 goals. God, it's sick.
Guy Whittingham.
Guy Whittingham, good shout. He's on here. I've seen him. He's number 22. 23 goals.
22. Ash.
Fucking hell.
I'm going to go for tricky Trev.
No.
There, he's on it. For the win, Steve.
For the win.
Hang on. Did you just say that Guy Whittingham was 22 with 20 goals?
23 goals he got.
So, of our list of top goal scorers ever, in the top list of our heralded history, our Glory Football Club, the 22nd highest goal scorer, scored 22 goals.
It's disgusting, isn't it? It's so
I think this is quite depressing.
It really is.
Oh, come on, hurry up, Blair. Just put Zara's mirror. This is getting.
I'm going for Steve McLean.
Steve McLean. He's number 9 on the list with 35 goals.
Wow. Right then, so let's go.
How many's Haaland scored this year?
Yeah, 31, I think.
So quickly, Blair. Let's go 25 to number 1.
Okay, so 25 is Lee Gregory with 21 goals.
Oh wow!
Yeah, been here 18 months.
You're gonna tell me Becky the tea lady at number 18 or something, aren't you?
I think it's someone called Kieran Lee. You might know him. 22
Kieran
goals.
Lee.
Yeah.
And someone called David Lane. Never heard of him. He was born in 1939. He got 22
Right,
goals.
okay.
Sorry?
No, it was.
Then there was a guy
I
with him,
didn't go
and then-
that year.
Number 21, Adam Reach.
Oh, get fucked.
This is how bad this is.
No, I'm just how bad we are, I think.
Yeah.
Number 20 is
fans
Chris-
of the club.
Number 20 is Chris
Chris
Brunt.
Maguire. Oh, Chris Brunt. Oh, yeah.
Number 19, Dion Burton. I can't remember scoring for us. Like, do you know what I mean? Barry Bannon is 18. Carboni is 17. Gary Medine is 16. Josh Rindas is 15, 28 goals.
Jesus
Lucas-
Christ. He's only been here 3 years as well, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Lucas Zhao, 29 goals.
Oh,
He's
we're
number
bad.
14. Jermaine Johnson. Andy Booth. Someone called Keith Ellis. He was born in the 1930s. Hooper is 10th. Spent more time injured. McLean, Stephen Fletcher. Obviously, there is Sibon. Someone called Johnny Fathom. He was born
Johnny
in the
Fathom.
30s. He got 49 goals. Nuiu. And then number 3 on the list is Marcus Tudgay.
That's mad. That's mad. This club is 154 years old, and majority of those have been in the last 2 decades. Top
And this
scorers.
season and last season echoes that because we spread the goals out. We're just a great team. We just spread the goals out. We don't rely on one player. We don't rely on one player. Stick you on
Well, every day's a school day, even when the teachers are on strike. So thanks for that, mate. Thanks for that.
Awful.
Right.
Awful
Work
stuff.
today.
Yeah,
I've
apart
worked
from Steve.
I wish I was a Glover supporter.
On Saturday, we're going to see Hillsborough pretty much full to the brim. Let's hope there's no Newcastle reporters there taking photographs. Plymouth are bringing 4,500 fans.
3,700.
3,700. Oh, right. Okay.
They're not allowed the bottom tier by it sounds it because of Newcastle.
Right. Okay. So people can't find where the seats are. And I think when I last looked, there was something like 500-600 tickets left in the home end. So it's going to be running out of pies, running out of pints, running out of chips, and nowhere to park.
Yeah.
So welcome to what could have been the Premiership. So it's top versus second. Top versus second. They're bringing a big following. We're bringing a big following. I'm not going to ask for predictions just yet. I'm going to go to Steve first. Who do you think's going to play, Steve, in regards to Wednesday? Who do you think he's going to pick? Is Bannon going to come in? How's he going to set it up? Because bear in mind, I had a look at when we played and lost 2-1 last year. Our back three were Ihekwe. I've forgotten his name. Reece James and pardon? Hennigan. They were our back three. All three of those have now not going to be our back three. So it's obviously going to be a massive change in the middle of the back of the park. So who do you think we're going to start with? Is Bannon going to start? Byers going to start? What do you reckon?
Dawson in goal. Palmer, Iorfa, Famewo, Johnson, Hunt, Volks, Bannon, Byers, Windass.
Well, Smith's got to start.
Do you know what? I think he'll play Patterson.
Of a Smith?
Of a Smith and Gregory.
No way.
Why?
No.
Why?
Because I love Michael Smith, that's why.
Huh?
Because I love Michael Smith, that's why.
Do you know what? I'm being really flippant there and said this is what's going to happen. I think there's there are a couple of key positions, aren't they? Decisions that he's going to have to make. Is he going to play Flint? And if he does, you'd assume that Palmer will go out to right wing back. I think that's a big gamble, given that Flint's not had any minutes other than the last 10 or so the other day. It's a big game. You're playing top of the league. Are you going to put Flint straight in there? Only Moore knows. And, we talked about it with Hector. They'll do their fitness testing. They'll do their milestoning or, the benchmarking or what have you in terms of individual fitness. But nothing's going to replace that match fitness, that contact on the ground, as Darren Moore would say. I think it's a bit too early for Flint. I don't expect to see Flint on Saturday. I think he'll potentially look at him on Tuesday with a view to maybe giving him some more minutes on against Ipswich. That's one thing. That's a key point. And the other one's up top. I think the midfield picks itself for what it is. If we're going to play that 3 or 5-3-2, it's just whether or not he plays whatever combination of Windass, Smith, Gregory and Patterson he puts up top.
Ash?
Agree with Stevie. I think it'll be Dawson, then it'll be Palmer, Iorfa. I don't know. It's a tough one. I think the decision to play Flint, probably if it wasn't Plymouth, and I know we don't play we don't pick for other teams, maybe he would have probably started, but probably not. So I don't know. Oh, yeah, I'd go with Hunt because he has played, even though he's not pulled any trees up. I'd play him.
He was good against Wickham. I thought he was very good against Wickham.
Yeah.
Hunt's got big
And
game
then-
experience though.
And then we've got your three that will be Byers, Volks, and Bannon. And then I'm going to agree with Stevie. I think it's going to be Windass and Patterson up front.
Not a chance.
So
Remember when I said don't do those predicted 11s?
Well, yeah, but you said
Robbie,
that,
Robbie.
but then you started doing them on like in the group and stuff like that. So that's why I wanted to do it, because it always throws those curveballs in, like you've done by putting Pato in there. The only thing I thought about Flint coming in was I didn't go and I didn't really watch the Wickham game, but Hunt, we're missing Palmer as that wing back. We really have been missing that Palmer as that wing back. I think he's been sold short this season due to injuries, because he is, in my opinion, the best player to sit in that position. Which would then, if Flint came in, it would then free Palmer to do what he is good at, is getting forward.
Yeah, wing back is a position where you need to be so fit, and
that's ideal, isn't it? He is fit. But I also agree with the fact that we don't know how ring rusty Flint is. You know, it is a game where we need people on top of the game, and I don't think Hunt. Personally, I think this is his last season, Hunt's last season at Wednesday, and his ability to take players on and his decision making seems to me be a little bit of a yard behind. He seems to be a player like when we saw people like Liera, and when they started making that step up or getting towards the end of the career, it started looking like they were a yard short, unfortunately. Great servant, love the bloke, brilliant player in his time. Yeah. But I think the better player there in that position all day long is Palmer.
I think it's weird, isn't it, with football, how much a summer can change, how much a summer can affect a player.
Well, it's age, isn't it? You're still young. You know.
It's 2.5 months, isn't it? You know what I mean? It's out 2.5 months.
It's amazing. It's amazing as a bloke who's 52 now, who used to do a lot of walking, a lot of cycling, and now exercise now is really difficult to recover from. And this is them. They're training every day, and he's now, unfortunately, on that slippery slope of trying to recover from games is very difficult. And I think that then affects your decision making, because you're tired. It's difficult to do. Look, whatever it will be an occasion. The atmosphere should be pretty good. And the team so far this season has turned up to games like this. I think the game up to the point of where Moore probably made the only mistake he's done all season this season of taking Bannon and Windass off. Yep. That is the only mistake he's made this season, which is a huge improvement over what we saw last season. Yeah. He's turned a lot of the fans round, and a number of us, he's showing that he's a good manager. What he's got at the moment. We were the better side away, weren't we? We were the better side up until that point. So I don't see why we can't get 3 points.
First 10 minutes was tough, but once we got our equaliser, and like eight minutes in, Wednesday were battering them. It was brilliant, weren't it?
Yeah. So look, it's all to play for. It'd be great if we get a full house and then we win. Hopefully, some of those people who have chosen this game to come to will come to the remaining home games and support us through that. Predictions, chaps.
Don't have a dig at part-timers, Si. It's not fair.
I'm not having a dig at them at all, because I know I've been in that situation in the past before, that family and life takes over, and I'm in a lucky situation now that I can afford a season ticket with my son. And we're of the age, my son's 15, I'm at 14, nearly on 15. I'm of the age and the ability to be able to give that time up and go and watch. But also as well, it'd be great. And the same happens at every single football club. Sheffield United, Barnsley, Rotherham. Let's go into this purple patch and let's start getting the fans back in. If we can go up into the Championship, that'd be fantastic.
Yeah,
right.
Anybody just on that side, anybody that's going to moan about people that turn up on Saturday and it's the first game of the season and they turn up and they're not going to be there against, whoever it is that we've got at home, and I haven't looked the game after, can absolutely get in the bin.
Absolutely agree with you, mate.
Get in the bin. What do we want? We want as many people there as possible. Yeah. But Jesus Christ Almighty, we're living in a cost of living crisis. It costs so much money to get to Hillsborough. It costs so much money to do that. And just like you, some of us are fortunate enough to have season tickets and be able to do it. Some of us can't, and that's the reality of where we are. And so what? If I'm a Wednesday fan that can get to 2 games a season and treat it as something where I'm going to take my child, or I'm going to go and take my mate, or I'm going to go along to one game, and I can get to one game this season. If that so happens to be Plymouth, that doesn't make you a worse Wednesday fan than other people. It just means that your circumstances are what they are. So
and you're with Ward, and you're
get
with Ward,
behind
but
I wouldn't
you'll
even
get
say if you're a
you'll get
Wednesday
Everton
fan.
away next season. So good for you.
I won't even say if you're
For
not
going
even a
everywhere.
Wednesday fan. If you're just a football fan and you may fall in love with Wednesday, you might come for this one game with your mate or whatever.
Yep.
Like you say, you may never have been to us, but that's how you get new fans. We
It
don't
is.
all just imagine you become Wednesday fans.
Listen, I absolutely was not born into Sheffield Wednesday. I don't come from a heritage where my family are football fans or anything like that. I'm not at all. My dad was a boxer. My mum could give two fucks about sport, to be honest with you. It just so happened that my circumstances got me to Hillsborough, got to the game, and fell in love with the place. That's what it is. And you look at that scoreboard when they do the schwa Plymouth or whatever the acronym will be, the abbreviation, will be on Saturday. There will be a load of people, a load of kids going, it's this kid's first game, it's that person's first game.
Twit, I like that.
The hashtag. Your first game, people. There's going to be kids going on Saturday. There's going to be people going on Saturday of a certain age, potentially, that are going to fall in love with the, especially if we win. And everybody has to start somewhere. So
there'll always be somebody's first game. Always be somebody's first game. And let's hope that it will be the first game and it won't be their last.
And why not be 30,000 or whatever the thing, or plus 30,000? Why not that? It's
always
probably
thought,
the best time to have it. It's better than going at 15,000 on a wet fucking Tuesday night, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Wednesday fans always turn up when they're needed. I've seen many of last game of the season games in the Championship where we need to win to stay up, and it's full house again. You know what I mean, or close to. Yeah. And this is another example of that. Like, there hasn't been a lot of marketing around it, either has there really at all. You know what I mean? No one's actually. There's not been a lot of tweets saying, "Oh, it's a massive game. Come down to Hillsborough on Saturday." It's just like this is almost like they're just new against Plymouth and selling out. It's just happening, and it's going to be a great atmosphere.
I think the club, on that play, it would have been nicer of the club. I mean, I know it's probably bottom of the list and stuff, but to generate that a little bit more of a bit of a, it's not a win at all costs game at all. It's not a first leg of a playoff or anything like that. But it would, they go on about the atmosphere at Hillsborough to generate more. So the more people there, especially away fans as well, they always add to the atmosphere, don't they? It's no good having just 300 on the bottom tier. At least Plymouth are doing their bit by bringing 3,500.
Yeah, any other weekend I won't be going. I'm working night. I'm working 7 p.m. till 7 a.m. Saturday morning. I'm going to bed at 8 a.m.
What, you mean not on the beer straight away?
I'm getting up at 11:30, getting in car, going to Hillsborough, getting home for starting another shift at 7 p.m. Like, it's just one of them games you've just got to get. You've just got to go to this game. It's huge.
Right, chaps. So we're all going. Ash, prediction.
Obviously, I don't want to 1-0.
1-0.
And 1-0's not a bad result.
It's no, I'm not saying no, not all. It's not about, obviously. Of course,
we've still got the game in hand. It's still in our hands.
I'd take a draw.
Steve?
And that's bad at home, 30,000, but yeah.
I'd take a draw. I can see us. No, I'm not going to say it. 1-0.
1-0. Come on, Blair. Come on,
2-0 Wednesday.
2-0 Wednesday.
We're going to smash them. Their players aren't going to know nothing about this atmosphere. So a lot of our players have played in big games. None of their players have. We're going to get on top of them. We're going to get an early goal. It's going to be fucking easy.
I'm
going
to
go 2 last season anyway.
I'm going to go for 2-1 Wednesday. 2-1 Wednesday. I think we will beat them. I think we can raise ourselves to these big games. We did against Newcastle. The Hillsborough are bouncing at the end of the day. It'd be great. I'd love it if we beat them. I love it if we beat them. So
with the microphone on as well.
Absolutely. Well, it's my first time as host of the Wednesday week. I don't know how you got on. So if you thought I was good, my name's Simon Hill. Leave us a comment. If you thought I was bad, then my name's Dan Fudge.
Do a knob
Comment.
There's no knob gags and there's no camel jokes or anything else. We're the Sheffield Wednesday podcast and we don't do merchandise because it'd be really, really shit.
The Wednesday week is sponsored by Michael Constantine Wealth Management. We bet you can't find a financial advisor closer to Hillsborough Stadium.